Hey everybody, Kevin Gallagher here. I wanted to share a quick message with you based off of some of the conversations that we've been having during our third quarter reviews with many of you. As you know, myself, Brandon, and our new financial advisor, James, we've all been conducting third quarter reviews with almost all of you now. And if you haven't gotten your third quarter review, it's coming. It takes us about an entire quarter to get through everyone. In fact, maybe even a little bit more than a quarter. And that's why we brought James along to help us in that process. And many of you have met him already. He's doing a wonderful, wonderful job. And if you're going to meet him soon, please welcome him to the team. And I'm sure he'll do a wonderful review with you. But one of the questions that comes up the most in the last month or so is, hey, Kevin, what is going on with this crazy stock market? And the answer is, not much more than what was going on the first half of this year. The first half of this year, we all heard about all the headwinds that were coming towards this economy and, of course, impacting the markets. Headwinds like inflation, the Federal Reserve raising interest rates, supply chain and labor shortages, a war in Ukraine, oil was going sky high. Well, lots of those things are still in place right now. But the good news is they seem to be getting better. We saw a big sell-off in the market last week and a couple of days before that, and it was blamed on the idea that inflation is still running really hot. But if you were paying attention, you may have realized something. That for the last 2 months in a row, the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, that measurement of inflation, has actually annualized to a lower amount 2 months in a row. So we've seen some pretty good news on the inflation front. We've also seen some pretty good news when it comes to supply chain problems. Those seem to be easing up a little bit as well. So, hey, we still have more time to see how that unfolds, but at least there's some good news here, right? But I really want to cover two things with you right now. It's important to know what's going on in the economy. It's important to know what's going on in the markets. But let's talk about what's going on with you. Because you know what? We all care what the S&P 500 is doing. We all care about the other indexes. We hear about them on the news every night. But what we really care about the most is how are we doing? That's a big difference. So let me bring out two things to you that I think are worthy of reminding yourself about. Thing number one. In 2019, specifically December of 2019, the S&P 500, we're going to use it as sort of a barometer of the whole market. The S&P 500 was at an all-time high. That was in December of 2019. And if you remember your history pretty correctly, that was right before all this craziness happened. Now, if I told you in December of 2019, if I said, hey, I have a crystal ball, and what's about to happen early in the year 2020, just a few months after December of 2019, we're going to have a pandemic, the likes of which the world has never seen before. People are really going to get sick. People are really going to die. Economies are really going to be shut down. People are going to lose their jobs. If I told you that after that, we would then have runaway inflation and the Federal Reserve was going to start increasing interest rates at a rate and speed that they haven't done for decades. If I then said following that would be supply chain shortages, labor shortages, and oh, by the way, Russia would invade Ukraine and that would create energy problems for most of Europe. If I told you all of that was going to happen back in December of 2019, what would you have said to me back then? You would have said, Kevin, get me the heck out of the market. And that would be a rational feeling back then. But had you done that, guess what you would have missed out on? With all the craziness that's happened since December of 2019, with all of those really scary, horrible things that we hear about in the news every single day that really whip us up into a frenzy, did you know that the S&P 500 is today, September 21st, 2022. Did you know that the S&P 500 today is 20% higher than where it was on December of 2019, which, by the way, was an all-time high at that point. And all these crazy things happened, and the market is actually higher. So you know what? It seems like we're in a really scary world right now, and I get it. I watch the same news you do. But that's not always what's being reflected in your portfolio. Yeah, I get it. Your portfolio went much higher after 2019, and it's come down since the high that it went to, but it hasn't gone back to where it was in 2019 yet. That's a really big deal. That should make you feel a lot better. So if you felt confidence back in 2019, if you felt good about your situation in 2019, bring that back into your life and feel that way again. Because the odds are you're probably doing even better now than you were then. So I wanted to share that with you because there's a lot of noise out there right now. There's a lot of just craziness out there. And if we don't pay attention to how it's working, it will indeed push us around emotionally. It will sometimes get us to do things in our investment accounts that we probably shouldn't do. And that's what we're here to do for you. Please know that while all of this is going on, and we share this with all of you when we do our reviews, but please know that we are indeed monitoring your accounts through our partnerships with people like CCMG and Russell and Progressive Asset Management. We're making sure that they're doing their job on your behalf by making the changes and suggesting fund changes that make sense, and they report that back to us. And then our job, of course, is to report that back to you and make any changes or adjustments that maybe you need us to make on your end. And that's why we do all these reviews, and that's why I do these videos for you. I want you to know what's going on. Now, if we haven't gotten to you yet, or if we already have, but you still have more questions about your specific account and how the markets are impacting your account values, hey, please, our time is your time. Don't hesitate to get a hold of us. We will set up a time to go over your numbers in detail. But again, we've done that for most of you so far this quarter. And those of you who we haven't, I already said we'll get to you pretty soon. So other than that, look, I just wanted to share that with you. It's really important as we see this market selling off a little bit to understand and put into perspective where we are. And where we are is actually pretty good relative to where we were right before all this craziness happened. Does that make sense? Hey, in the meantime, we'll keep monitoring, we'll keep watching, and we'll keep reporting back to you what's going on. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. We'll see you soon.